carriers, brokers, and dispatchers. You're tuned into the E-Carrier Check Channel, where we bring you the insider tips, tricks, and insights to drive your sales and logistics business to new heights. Each week, your hosts, Jared and Nate, sit down with the top professionals in the industry, diving deep into everything from prospecting and cold calling to maintaining carrier relationships and maximizing your bottom line. Learn real-world strategies, hear success stories, and get actionable advice you can implement in your business today. So buckle up and get ready for an entertaining and informative ride. This is the E-Carrier Check Channel, your source for can't-miss logistics intelligence. Stay tuned.
Hello, good morning. Happy Friday.
What up?
Happy Friday, man. It's RFQ season. It's football season.
Oh, man.
You name it. It's season time.
It's back to school season.
Back to school season.
Yeah.
I'm excited to chat today, man. We talked a little bit on Wednesday about some RFQ and how it's about that time. It's around the corner.
Yeah.
For some people, it's already here.
Yep.
People are thinking about it, trying to get their foot in the door. So I'm excited to chat with you specifically on this. And then we might have a guest here that could add some good information as well. What is up, Chief Freyhaller? How's Florida, brother?
Logistics. Good morning from New York. What's going on?
What's
good
going
to see
on?
everybody on the East Coast here.
On logistics, New York.
I love that there's a Statue of Liberty.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I need that emoji. I need to get that.
We're in the beautiful Nebraska here. We got a lot of corn.
It's just hot.
Hot.
It's just hot. Yeah. All the time. There's no water.
Yeah.
A couple of things that was interesting about Wednesday's show is a lot of people said, hey, we'd like some help with RFQs. I know you have a list of questions to go over with me.
Oh, boy, do I.
But, honestly, and to a certain extent, RFQ season, runs at the end of the year. And if you don't know what RFQ means, RFP, right? It's a request for quote, or it's a request for pricing, right?
Yep.
I want to stop by the beach, but I need to get home. I've got all of the buck something freight I can handle next week.
Nice. I would love to be at the beach with you right now.
Just go to the beach.
What's up, Jerome?
Take 10 minutes and put your toes in the sand.
Yeah.
Oh
What's up,
my
Jerome?
gosh. I need the beach.
Yeah. I can see you and Jerome on the beach. You guys need to link up and get to the beach.
We're just looking for inspections.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Love you, Jerome. We love you, brother.
I know, the poor cat can't get an inspection.
Jared, something I was thinking about earlier. In your time in logistics, how many RFPs or RFQs have you actually been through in your time?
Hundreds.
Okay.
Hundreds. And it was always, I guess it depends on how you define an RFQ or RFP, right?
Okay.
When I worked with Nebraska Transport, we would get them sent to us weekly, if not daily. And it was really heavy come late summer, early fall, into late fall.
Right.
And people were just trying to set their budgets for next year, right? For the shipping managers, the logistics manager, all those people are trying to go, well, how much is next year going to cost?
Right.
Right. And it was this time of year too. And you even see this with the LTL carriers. They'll take what they call a GRI, a general rate increase.
Okay.
Right. And so there was always pricing discussions on the table, and it really just depended on at what sophistication level those RFQs, RFPs were at.
Mm-hmm.
I saw them faxed in, not to date myself here, but I remember this bullet company we used to work with. They used to make bullets up in South Dakota. They would send us faxes, and they're like, hey, they'd call ahead and say, like, we're going to send you all of our pricing lanes for this year. And they'd send us a fax. It'd have like 15 pages. It was ridiculous. Me and the pricing guy would sit back there and we'd work through each of those lanes.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would fax it back to the guy.
Holy cow.
Or I would drive up there and give it back to him.
Yeah. that leads me
We're
to
in a little bit different.
Yeah. Imagine getting faxed today and trying to complete this. Like, would someone pursue that? You think they would? Like, I don't know. I just haven't heard or seen anyone do any faxing. But if they fax that to you, I mean,
it was just back in the day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The shipping manager, I remember the shipping manager's
Yeah.
name as well. It was Gerald.
Okay.
Avid hunter, loved South Dakota. And he would just send us his, hey, here's all my rates.
Okay.
I'm going to have this and this. And I think for shipping managers that are watching, we have a few. Gabe, what's up, brother? What's going on, man? You know, I think trying to, you know, obviously, shipping managers, logistics managers, brokers even as well, they need to be fair to their carriers. They need to understand that it takes costs to get to this next level.
Yeah.
You know, and you just can't run it, you know, $1.85 a mile. Right. That's hard to do, right? I mean, in some cases it is, but you know, you go to Denver, you're going to get paid $1 a mile. You go out of friggin', you know, go into Denver, you're going to get paid $3.15, right? But where I was going with that is this season for salespeople is kind of an interesting, just sort of change in how you communicate to those cold calls, shipping managers, especially if you're in the reefer space or you're in a space where there's kind of a cyclical thing coming where like produce seasons, you know, next spring, right? Or it depends on the fruit and those things. But you can start having the sales conversations. And this is what Samantha always talks about is, hey, you know, I would love an opportunity to be a part of your RFQ, RFP. Can you tell me about that process? It's a totally different conversation than let me quote a load today, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
So you're trying to dig into two different types of sales conversations.
Okay.
And I think it's an interesting question to ask at the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
You know, instead of how do you find your trucks, you are saying, hey, you know, when you're looking for carriers, are you putting it out in a spot market day to day, or are you putting it out as an RFQ and the carriers keep their rates for a quarter, 6 months, a year?
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And those are those things that you need to start at the top and work your way down.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. That's good stuff there. Gabe, what's going on, brother? You're dogging on the red, bro. It's our year. The Huskers are taking it all, baby.
Polo you've got on.
Need all the RFQs we can get. I do have a question on this too, on all the RFQs we can get here.
I know someone who still has a fast. Yeah, exactly. Fast Chameleon. I used to put my beeper number on. Yeah, exactly.
And Gabe's saying over here, "Go Hawks." He's a Hawks fan. Okay. You know, was there any point in time though you had all these hundreds of RFQs? Were there some that you were like, okay, these aren't good to pursue, we're going to push them to the side? Or were you the type of logistics professional to where I'm going to get through all these RFQs and let's see where it goes?
Boy, that's such an interesting question. I'm going to answer this two ways.
Okay.
The first way is as an asset. The second way is as a non-asset. Okay. As an asset, as an LTL truckload and asset-based carrier, you really just bid on the lanes that made the most sense for you.
Okay.
That would fit your puzzle. I wasn't trying to cover anything outside of that. I didn't want New England to New England or the East Coast to the East Coast. What I wanted was Montana to Denver and Denver to South Dakota and Nebraska to Illinois, this kind of Midwest type of flatbed freight, right? And so there were times when we would get RFQs, people would just send them to us because we had 200 and some drivers. And you would just respond back, hey, I'm sorry, but nothing in this package makes sense.
Okay.
And you would send it back, right? And this happened more often than not. In fact, I would say even what percentage of RFQs did we win? Wildly low. And to a certain extent, you almost feel, I'd be interested in anyone that's dealing with RFQs this type of year, you almost feel as though, you know, you're wasting your time to a certain extent, right? Especially in the asset-based world, because not everything made the most sense, right? And so that was something that I dealt with. Now, transition it over to being a broker, I think it was a little bit different, right? I wouldn't mind taking some risk in areas of the country that I, you know, you can find carriers everywhere, right? And so I didn't mind going into those areas where I already had relationships and things like that. And so I would take more of a holistic approach to it.
Okay. No, I like that. I'm going to bring in our guest, Samantha Jones. She is back with her Friday tip. I'm excited.
I freaking love this conversation.
Hey, Samantha.
With Samantha.
Good morning, guys.
This is the best. Good morning. What is up? It's good to see you.
Thanks. Good to be here.
Yeah. How's the world? How's everything going this week?
Things are good. Life's busy. Tonight's my son's 7th birthday party, so have to.
School starting soon too. So
School started Wednesday for us. Thank goodness. So.
Okay. I know.
It was
it's time to get him in. What's on the docket for the party? Do you do anything fun?
So I mean, he's an August birthday, and it's going to be like 90 degrees today, and so you know, I don't try to do anything outside or anything crazy. So we actually rent out our like local water park, and we just have a pool party. So I'm like, that's the only way anybody can be in the heat is if you're in the water. So
yeah,
I agree.
I love that. We used to do that as well. Like we would rent the when my kids were the 7th, 8th grade, or 7, 8-year-old, we would rent out the local water, like the slide and stuff. And that's it, because my kids' birthday was last week. And so same thing. You just you're like, holy buckets, it's so damn hot out.
Yeah. And for parents, I mean, it's so nice for me because I don't have to try to host that many people in the house, and like you don't have to clean, you don't have to prep. It just, you show up at a water park, you throw a few balloons out and the cupcakes, and that's it. So.
Everybody's happy. Everybody's happy. Well, hey, we're talking about RFQs today. I'm excited to get your insights. You obviously helped start and develop a fairly large brokerage. Give us some insights from the sales perspective to start, and then let's work our way down to strategy a little bit. But let's start at the sales perspective. What would change when it came to looking for RFQs or looking for RFPs, things like that, in a contractual aspect from your side of things?
Sure. Well, I would say for me, like RFQs actually start months before they come out. Ideally, we should have already been prepping for these and knowing who's going to be on our radar and trying to build some type of relationship or familiarity with that shipper. Because the best way to go into an RFP or an RFQ prepared is to like already have some knowledge of the business and have a relationship established with someone that you're going to be able to go ask questions to, like as you're working through your bid or between bid cycles. But if you've already missed that, like, or maybe there's a lot of shippers who love to just like add people to it, and they put your information somewhere when you solicited them, and then all of a sudden you get like this request to bid, and you're like, I don't even know who this is. It happens, right? Like, I think that's a silly approach on their part, but it happens all the time. So what I would say about that is do your research as soon as you see the opportunity. Like, try to figure out everything you can about that company, about their locations, about their product, and then look at the lanes, see what's available to you. And then create what I kind of call like your bid strategy. And you're looking at it and you're saying like, what fits me best? What fits me second best? Like, what would be my third choice if I had options? And that's kind of how you prioritize, an RFP. Some RFPs are like 10 lanes and you're like, oh, I could just maybe I could bid all of these or some of these. But if you have bids with hundreds or thousands of lanes, people get sucked in too far. And like what I would say is you need to prioritize and break that down. It is not the wrong approach to submit 20 lanes on a 1,000 lane bid. Yeah. You will not be looked at poorly for that. Yeah. So especially if you're an asset provider, only bid what you know you can do. And if you're a broker, it shows some type of strategy and intentional selection, again, to not submit back every lane in that bid. That's silliness to me. Just because you could find someone on a load board doesn't mean you should try to find someone on a load board. Like, it's going to be somebody else's primary lane. So like, just accept that and let it go, Yeah. So that's kind of my advice there is create your strategy, and then you create your strategy, and then you go work through pricing, and you get your pricing in, you look at your historicals. If you're an asset carrier, you know what you need to make on the lane, and you kind of build like your initial base case scenario. And then after you've done that, you have something to actually take back to them with specific questions. So I would encourage questions, because if you've never run this lane before, you don't really know. Like, a lot of times we're missing information. Like, is it overnight receiving? Is it, drop trailer or live load? Like, you have to make sure that you approach the shipper while you still have an opportunity to adjust your pricing and ask questions. And so I think it's a great idea to submit a little bit early, to articulate a bid strategy, and to say, this is what our logic was. If you see any problems with my logic, or if I'm unaware of something, will you please let me know so that we can change that. I think people are like scared to ask questions or like be needy in an RFP, and that's kind of silly.
I think so too.
Yeah.
When you were doing, I love that you throw out that, hey, I don't need to do all the lanes. When you were, if you know, in the full season of brokering, what would your win percentage be? Because you mentioned something that was kind of interesting. Sometimes you get too far in the weeds. And you can spend hours on these things. I mean, every friggin' week. I mean, you could, well, hell, we had a pricing guy. That was all we did. Yeah. It was just nonstop. This is all the guy did. He would just every day look at it, go through it, run the miles, figure out if we could do it. It was just hectic, you know?
Yeah.
In the LTL world, it sucked because then everyone had their own rate bases and all kinds of crazy shit. But give me a rundown. What do you think an average win rate was on the RFQs?
I think in full truckload brokerage, an average win rate is typically for any organization between 10 and 20%. So it's not high. But I say that with the caveat that would be like on your first time participating. So typically you could see that almost double your second attempt, because you learn through the process and you get a chance to engage and get feedback and tweak the approach. Once you have a customer, I mean, I think the win rate should be like 80+%. Like if you have run freight for them and you're trying to add business, or you're trying to retain business, like you should be seeing 80+% success rate. But like getting your foot in the door as a first time partner is difficult. It is tough. And you have to just understand like your competition quite be pricing just as aggressively and for with nice. So like, what is the motivation to replace them? It says I'm trying to reconnect. Am I back?
Yeah. We'll get back here. Let's see.
Yeah. Now we can
hear you.
Back. Yeah. I think you're good. I was
like, let me know when I'm back. It tells me it said it lost connection.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. I think okay. Something I'd be curious, and we'll kind of circle back. Are you back? Can you hear me?
I hope so.
I don't know if she's back.
Just a little bit of lag there.
I don't know. Give it a sec here. Give it a sec. Worth our time to wait.
Do you want me to jump out and jump back in?
I think she's back. I think you're back.
You're back now.
I think you're back.
Okay. I was like, I can try to get out. And
yes, you're back.
No. I think you're fine. I think you're fine.
Okay.
We have a couple of people in the comments are saying, hey, I live in the spot market world. Gabe is a somewhat new broker, and that's what he's been exposed to. And honestly, that's probably what a majority of freight brokers that get going are used to. There's some interesting aspects to being able to be a part of RFQs and RFPs, and walking in to your brokerage on Monday with 15 loads that you have to move, right? It adds an interesting springboard to your week and the numbers and things like that. Talk about just opening up to being into that mindset of, I need to look for both. You don't have to. You can live in the spot market world, but I think it adds an interesting layer of walking in knowing I've got these 20 loads I'm not chasing, right? If you don't mind going into that, it'd be really appreciative.
Yeah, so you're kind of talking about like contract versus spot and kind of how to balance that, right? So contract allows you to have predictability in your weekly, monthly revenue stream. So, you can definitely chase spot freight, and a lot of brokers serve a strong role in that space, but it is more stressful on an operation. So contractual freight allows you to have more predictive revenue, because typically shippers can predict the volume to anticipate, and what rate you bid, so you can like get an monthly, quarterly, whatever annualized number on what you should expect. Also, it allows you to provide more predictability to your carrier partners if you find good carrier partners. And more importantly, to me, a contract lane is an in and out. Like it's a tender in, tender out type of thing. Like lane comes in, I can have my carriers. I ask a few carriers, whoever's taking it that day takes it, done. I didn't touch DAT. I didn't go out to a load board. Like, and I don't have to wonder how the shipper operates or the receiver operates. Like once you get in the groove, you're in the groove. So it operates very seamlessly. You should be able to do like 5 to 10 contract loads for every like 1 to 2 spot loads that you do just on time spent. So it actually, yes, the margins could be smaller on contract freight, but your volume should be double what you could do in the same time on a spot load. I think spot freight for smaller brokers especially adds like that opportunity to boost your margins or your revenues, or also just to add more, because sometimes it's harder to get into contractual, like higher volume lanes if you're a smaller operation. So there's flexibility in it, but it's if it's up to me all day long, I'm trying to be in as much contract freight as I can. And then I'm using spot for like what my extra time would allow me to use it for. And inevitably, like if you're running a contract lane, my expectation of my carriers who wanted that lane was always like an 80% acceptance rate. I need you 80% of the time to be reliable. So you still have 20% of those loads that you're going to end up still covering more like a spot feel. So it's not ever like a perfect 100%. So even when you're running contract freight, you might have like a 80, 90s, percent carrier utilization rate on it. But that's the benefit of being the broker on the lane, is you still have some flex there.
I think something you were saying as you were breaking out that I wouldn't mind kind of jumping back into a little bit is it is honestly kind of challenging to tip the cart of the incumbent. Yeah. Right. The people that are in that freight already know the freight. They know the people. They have a relationship, whether it's good or bad. They know them. They understand that just the syncrasies of that shipper, right, and the receivers and things like that. If you're a new broker going in, you just got this 10-page RFP. Is it best just to grab 5 lanes and just get real narrow with it and try to win just a niche, or? What? Give us a rundown of what you're thinking.
It's best to have like a really strong articulation for why you want a few lanes. Like even if I would bid a couple hundred, when I would go back, I always tell people to give like a really detailed write up back to the shipper. Like nobody else is doing that. Promise you. Very few people do that. I would pick like my top 10, and I would be like, if I could only pick like 10 lanes, these would be the 10 that I would run for you. And here's why. And for each one, I would give an explanation. Like as a broker, I would be like, I want this lane from Chicago to Minneapolis because I have a carrier right now in Minneapolis running into Chicago for me 5 times a week. Like I have guaranteed capacity. They're looking to fit, find backhauls. I can't always supply it. This is such a good fit for me. Like I would explain that. And then, if I'm a carrier, I would say, these are my top 10 because they fit my trucks. They fit my driver domicile preferences. Like we run day cabs in this metro and these are short hauls in this area. I want to group them all together. Like explain it to them. Like everybody talks about paper rates, and part of a paper rate is the fact that you don't know what's behind it. It's a paper rate, something that got put on paper, and you have no idea what's standing behind that. If someone came to me with like an under market rate and they explained to me, I'm running Molson Coors on this lane on my head haul, I need to get my trucks back into the market, it's a back haul for me, and they're 10 cents, 20 cents under my market price, instead of being like, that's sketchy, I'm going to be like, oh, that makes sense. Like they're looking for efficiency in their network. Like they need to do this. I had a carrier once give me a really below market rate and it freaked me out. And I dug into it and I found out that the carrier was running like something nuts. It was like $6 a mile for like this high security stuff up from Mexico into Tennessee. And my lane was Tennessee to like San Marcos. So they submitted like $1 or something because they were like, I just got to get these trucks back. Like we're making so much money and we got to turn our trucks back, and they had to get across the border. So it worked out. They were like ecstatic to take the lane for below market. And I was like, this is crazy. We worked with them and we actually I was like, I have some room to bump this rate up for you. Like, I don't want to be that crazy to you, but I'm just saying like, sometimes you can dig in and question things and there's a good reason, and shippers know that. And there are paper rates out there right now. But I also tell people, like, when you're like, there's no way they're actually running it for that rate. I'm like, well, there really might be a way that they're running it for that rate. So.
Yeah, I definitely love the tidbit of adding some kind of feedback on the RFQ back. Everybody just kind of turns and burns RFQs, RFPs. They send them back. Hey, see our rates. Let us know what questions you have. I love the recap there. I also think with mid to large size shippers, I'm not talking like the megas, the top 100, but those mid size ones, boy, when you can humanize an RFP like you're talking about and saying, hey, I've got this guy and this is what he did. Hot damn.
Yeah, I mean,
it works. It works.
Play into things, right? Like the reason incumbency status matters is because those are relationships and they don't want to disappoint their providers. So if you're a non-incumbent, the best thing you can do is try to humanize it and your reasoning for it too. Like you want to become more real. So
can you tell Chief Freight Hauler what a paper rate is?
He's Googling it right now.
It's a rate that someone submits with no real intention of being able to back it up long term. Yeah. A lot of people submit them and then hope that if they win the lane, they can run it for a few weeks and then give a price increase and that they'll somehow maintain that lane. So, I mean, but also, so really interesting fun fact, back in my mid-year market update that was in July, we had Ken usually joins me from DAT, but he couldn't. He was traveling. So we had Dean on, and Dean is a wealth of knowledge, but more so on the carrier side. And he said that there's a cohort of carriers out in the market right now that he's never seen before, that they can run like 40 cents per mile under market profitably. So like, because you're talking about that subset of carriers that came in when equipment was really cheap, when everything, they got it paid off or whatever, and then they put away their savings. And they've been smart with their maintenance and their whatever it is. And like he said, there is legitimately a group of carriers who can run 40 to 60 cents cheaper than some carriers and still make $60,000 a year right now in this market. So like, we have to be conscious of that there has never been a larger spread in profitability minimums for carriers. So like also a larger spread in contract versus spot. Some people were talking about, like when we talked about contract versus spot, I failed to mention that the difference right now in a contract rate versus a spot rate is like at least 40 cents per mile. Like that's a big deal. So I actually saw, he said, as a carrier, I found contract freight is more profitable for me. Yeah. Like there's literally more money in it. So it's good. That's why it's also profitable for brokers because they get paid more and they're kind of pushing it at spot rates. Right. So the spread is very big still, has been for a long time. And so contract is paying more and that's just a fact. But the carrier spread's crazy. Like that's all I'll say about that is there really are carriers out there who people are going to point fingers and say it's a paper rate, but it might not be. They might still be generating a profit right now.
I love that. See, those are those insights that if you don't dig into carrier sourcing, you're just not going to know. You know what I mean? You're not going to find it. You're just you got to go out and get it. Samantha, we've obviously taken up a lot of time today. What anything else on your thought process or in your life that's going on you want to share with us?
What's going on in life? No, things are good.
Nothing crazy.
Consulting is fun. It's going well. Podcast is going well. I actually been working towards prepping a second podcast endeavor. So I still have to get myself to jump off that, but it will be very strictly sales focused, which is something I don't currently do. I do sales for work, but then I talk about markets and economics on my podcast. So it's like, okay, let's talk about also what I do for work here a little bit. So I'm looking forward to that, and that'll hopefully be coming out in a couple months, but still really enjoy writing my market update, my newsletter. You can sign up for it on LinkedIn, or I actually also send like a MailChimp campaign with it. So if you'd prefer to have it come to like a different email, you could just message me your email on LinkedIn and I can get you on that list. But that's something I write every month just to help people navigate what's going on in the full truckload markets and the overall economy as well.
I love that. Awesome. I love that.
Yeah. Well, thanks again, Samantha. You've been a wealth of knowledge, and a lot of the things why we're talking about this today is people are always asking us how to stand out. And, everything that you and Jared kind of went back and forth on is really everything people need to take into consideration with standing out when it comes to these RFQs. So it was really helpful. I'm really glad you showed up today. You're you're a blessing to us. So thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. I wish everyone the best RFP season. And if you have any questions, feel free to message me. Always happy to give out some tidbits of advice and hope things go well for everyone. Always rooting for people's success. It's a crazy market, but it's fun to win.
Amen.
I love that. I love that. And real quick, what's the best way to get in touch with you? Just so it's as people
LinkedIn is great. I'm on it too much. So just find me on LinkedIn, Samantha Jones, send me a connection request and shoot me a message if you have any questions.
Cool.
Lovely. Thanks.
I love it. Enjoy the birthday party. Thanks for being on today.
Have a great
weekend.
All right.
Thanks, guys. Bye, guys.
Later.
That was great.
And she just brings a house.
Yeah, well,
you know what I mean? She's got so many friggin' different, she's been exposed to so many different things with her side of it that it just adds a nice flavor of just customer service, of standing out, of just being a little bit above the fray. And I love that.
I'm with you too, Bella. She definitely thinks outside the box. She thinks of things I probably would never have thought of.
Yeah.
You know, so it's super nice.
That's why I love having her on. She's so good.
I saw Cody in the chat too. What's up, Cody? How you doing, brother?
This guy's the man. You guys aren't checking out his podcast. I love this guy's podcast. Really good podcast. Very good company.
Man, that was awesome, dude. I mean, she kind of took a lot of my questions.
Yeah, I'm sure she did.
So that was beautiful.
I'm sure she did.
You know, I don't know with your time in obviously logistics, but you know, for anyone that's just brand new to RFQs, do you have any tips for them? Just, we're getting right into it. Any tips?
You know, if you're just brand new, and Gabe, like, I really challenge you to try to get into one. Just get into one.
Like or something, you know what I mean?
The only reason why I say that is when you can come in to your week and not start at 0 or 3 or 4 loads, contract freight or spot market rate, things like that. There's nothing wrong with either one. I lived in both, right? But I just think there's some easiness. There's some, like Bella said earlier, same carrier, same flow. And you just kind of get it going, and it's just it's way less stressful on operations. Operations in the spot market can get hectic. You've seen that. I've seen that. And so if you're not making good money in the spot market, then go keep looking for another client. That's my opinion. But try to stand out and just do a little bit and work your way in. I got a buddy, I got to tell this story real quick and then we'll leave. He's been chasing this same client for almost 5 years. And it's a really good wheelhouse for him. He's niched into this industry. He does a lot of like electronics and tower stuff, kind of high security randomness. And he's been doing this forever, right? And he's been wanting this mega company forever. Try to get in with them. Took 5 years. He finally got into it, did their RFQ, RFP. And I'll be honest with you, I was wildly impressed with his analytical nature. I do recommend utilizing a little bit of AI to work through that if you don't have a data scientist or someone around that can help you analyze. But it takes a while to get into some of these people that you could help. You legitimately, genuinely could help. And I would say don't give up the ghost. If you guys have been grinding on a pipeline, just keep adding value, keep going back. Because Samantha said it, at the very beginning. Well, hopefully you know them, or you know their freight, or you know their client, right? And eventually there was some change in management. He got in and was able to provide a service, and now he's servicing that client.
That's awesome.
Which is insane, by the way, because 5, 6 years.
So most people would have gave up at that.
Oh, for sure. So I got to give it up. Incredible story to see this guy, and now he's getting quite a few loads a month, and just become a full service value provider.
That's great.
So when you feel like you haven't, when you're just at the end, you're going, I'm done with this guy. If it's your niche and you can help, keep adding value.
Keep pushing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I love that, man. You guys, thank you so much for being here today. 5 years.
Yeah. And he finally got in. I was impressed.
Yeah.
I've known this guy for a while. So
yeah. No, again, thank you guys for showing up today. We appreciate every one of you. And you guys really keep us doing this, honestly.
Yep.
And we love to do this. So again, if there's ever anything out there that we can kind of talk more about or do more of, we do need to get back into some cold calling here.
Hit us up. We'll do some cold calls next week.
We'll do some cold calls next week. Yeah. Just make sure to tune in and see which day we go live. But yeah, have a good weekend, everyone. Be safe. We'll